time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't think.
That goal is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pled.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me, however you may be joining me, whether that's on 94.1 FM, on your radio dial. If you're listening to me on our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you're one of the many that watch via our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star on YouTube. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show there in the comment section. A lot of people already up in the bullpen, of course. Miguel Martinez, Jacob Eric, Fred Records. What's going on, my guys? Welcome in to the show. So much fun to get into today. And the Blitz literally ended on an explosion there with the debate on how the Spurs are currently building. And it is extremely difficult to say one way or the other what the best way to build is. They have an idea. They are trying to execute the plan for the way that they see this team being built moving forward. Whether it's right or wrong, we won't know for 5 years. But you can tell when it goes wrong almost immediately. Look at the Atlanta Hawks. They thought giving the farm away for DeJounte Murray was going to catapult them coming off in the Eastern Conference Final into the stratosphere of being one of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference. It was oil and water in terms of play style on the court. It did not work. We're seeing it in Phoenix right now with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. It just does not seem to be working. So we got to figure out what the best way to build that is, because you can build the wrong way, and in building the wrong way, trying to bring in the biggest names, be so cost efficient that you not only hurt yourself in the present, but also the future by not having the available resources needed to build the right way. And the one thing we all, I think, are overlooking is how this tax apron is really going to affect things moving forward for teams. How this first apron, second apron, and the potential draft pick hold penalties affect teams as they move forward. And it's going to be very interesting to kind of see how that plays out over the end of the next few years, just to kind of see as teams get a grasp on how to build things right now. I think that's going to be a lot bigger deal than any of us are really paying attention to, at least in the immediate future, because we all know one way to build the team. The one way to build the team, and when in recent memory, has just been acquire as many stars as you can in the immediate future, and to hell with everything that's going in the distant future. Future draft picks, future capital. Let me get my stars in the building right now, and we try and figure it out and build with veteran, older players. And that's how it was done for a good period of time in the NBA. You look at the way teams are being built now, it's Boston. You built with 2 stars that you drafted, and then you started to tinker with the team around it slowly but surely until you finally put the finished product on the court, and there it was in year 7. Same goes for the Denver Nuggets. Same goes for there's so many teams because we've had 6 different champions in 6 different years, which is exactly what the NBA wants. That's what they want. They want parity. They want more teams in it year in and year out. And I think the latest iteration of how you with these new tax aprons is really going to change the way teams build teams moving forward, because it was about acquiring stars. It was about throwing caution to the wind with their draft capital. Is that going to change? Now, as it pertains to the San Antonio Spurs, and if they're done, I don't think they're necessarily done. I still think that there is a way that they can do both things with an eye on the future and the now. Lauri Markkanen, not off the table, in my opinion, just because you still have salaries on the books that you can make work in terms of multiple fronts for both teams being at. Of course, Danny Ainge is going to want all the draft capital. That's going to be a part of the trade. But you can also help Utah in terms of Keldon Johnson matches Lauri Markkanen's salary, but they're still $16 million under the cap floor. Utah has to spend money to get up to it. So a Zach Collins helps to raise Utah up to that cap floor potentially, along with the draft picks that they would be coveting. So, and if you trade a Keldon Johnson, it also opens up number 3 for a Chris Paul. Like, these are all potential outcomes that can be used when getting Lauri Markkanen. And Man M on our YouTube channel says, Pledge, considering all the details with the Markkanen extension, isn't it safe to say it's not an option until at least the trade deadline or later? Not necessarily, because you can trade for him before that August 6th deadline. And then, to my knowledge, and I will have to double check this through it, you can trade for him before it. He's not extension eligible until the 6th. But if you get him before that, you can extend him on the 6th. And then the difficulty is, nothing is set in stone at that point. The extension isn't there. And then if he gets the extension on the 6th, he could be traded potentially on the trade deadline. But that's the only, because of when the trade deadline falls, when the moratorium on his trade is, you've got 24 hours to complete the extension on the day of that it's allowed, and B, the trade of Markkanen can only happen on the exact day of the trade deadline. So you have a very small window for that to get accomplished. And look, if he signs an extension, I know he likes Utah. I don't think he has a problem being there. I'm not sure if he signs the extension, that probably might end the Lauri Markkanen trade discussions, in my opinion, just because at that point, Utah's kind of made their decision. Lauri Markkanen is a good enough player to keep the Utah Jazz relevant enough to keep them out of the bottom of the lottery, barring something like what happened with Atlanta this year, where they were the last lottery team with the lowest odds at 3% and somehow struck gold to end up drafting Zachary Richichet this year. That's what it would take for Utah to get to the bottom, in my opinion. The San Antonio Spurs, Harrison Barnes, I really like that. We're going to talk a little bit more about it, what the trade means, the future moving forward for the Spurs, coming up with Jeff Garcia. He is the Spurs digital reporter for Kins 5 and the host of Locked On Spurs. He'll be joining me next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Trane heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer. TraneInfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from the date of purchase but is waived if paid within the promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Attention homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's time to replace.
And right now, you can get a free in-home consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen. Plus, during the month of or when you buy 4 or more.
Just text $$ to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality, affordable windows or doors for no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 12 months.
That's right. You don't pay a dime for 12 months. Plus, for July only, buy 1 window or door and get 40% off.
Don't wait. Text $$ to 200-300. Text the word $$ to 200-300. $$ to 200-300.
It's Jason and Joe from the Blitz. Join us at Circa Las Vegas in August for the Circa Sports Ultimate Contest Weekend.
The Blitz will be live at Circa August 22nd and 23rd, and then we're staying for the weekend. Come to Vegas with us for the Ultimate Contest Weekend.
Circa Survivor and Circa Million are back. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.
So join the Blitz at Circa Las Vegas. More details and discounted rooms available online at sasportstar.com.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text SPARK to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 42424. That's SPARK to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate everybody for joining me, however you may be joining me, whether that's on the radio, online at sasportstar.com, or on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star. On YouTube, you can like, you can comment along, lots of great comments coming down. Tarek says, build like the Thunder. Seems to be working. I don't disagree. It's working. Chris O, excited about our next guest on the Buyers Barricades guest line. That being one Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs and of Ken's 5. He is their Spurs digital reporter. Jeff, what's going on, my man? Welcome into Extra Innings.
Oh, I'm just here at the gym, cranking out a workout, getting some great leg exercise tips and Pleasure during the break. Thank you, Pleasure. Appreciate that.
Yeah. I literally saw it over the weekend, and I tried it out this morning myself in terms of leg raises, calf raises, and stuff, in terms of building your calves, because you were talking about doing a calf workout and said, was it okay? Yeah. Well, I learned a little trick, and it actually worked out really well this morning. And in terms of growing your calves, this is shown to be more effective than most normal calf raise exercises. So
that's always my biggest fear, is looking lopsided, like too top heavy.
Yeah.
Like too unproportioned. So really trying to focus on legs, man. But hey, speaking of buildings, Spurs are building up a nice team, aren't they?
Spurs building up a great team, man. I was having you on. I wanted to see kind of what your thoughts are. They finalized things with the Harrison getting and Charles Bassey in the process.
And Raekwon Gray. Yeah. Shout out Raekwon Gray going to Chicago as well.
And Raekwon
Gray. But no, look, Harrison Barnes, proven vet, been there, done that, seen it all from the highs of highs, lows of lows with the Warriors winning titles. I mean, the Spurs fan base, they wanted to have veterans on the squad. Well, you can't get more veteran presence than Barnes and CP3. So they got the nice injection into that young roster and into the new season. But who knows? This roster could change. The offseason just began. We got all the way till the trade deadline of next season, so a lot of things could happen.
And there's a long way to go, so we won't really know what the final product of this team or what they're doing is until we kind of get through. I mean, we're through the first week and a half of free agency now, and we're still seeing people out there. We still see a lot of moves waiting to be made to an extent. And one of the biggest things that keeps popping up, not just to me, but to a lot of Spurs fans, is Lauri Markkanen and how what they did over the weekend affects their potential pursuit of Lauri.
Yeah. If the Spurs want to present the Jazz the best, I guess, sticker price that they can match and then match that sticker price, they can do it. I think there's some technical things around, Barnes. If they wanted to win Barnes, they got to wait like a moratorium period. But the point is, I think the Lauri Markkanen thing, if anything happens, is going to be a slow cook. You probably won't see any movement maybe till the season begins. More rumors popping up because, James, as you mentioned on Locked On Spurs today, you said nothing could really happen with Lauri because of that extension. And now that might scare off other teams from making a deal with Utah, because if Lauri declines or accepts an extension.
And with that, because things are very, very different when it comes to Lauri Markkanen because of the way his contract is. You can't, once he signs an extension, can't be traded until actually the day of the deadline, just because of where his extension availability falls on August the 6th. But unless I'm mistaken, if he's traded before August 6th, he is still eligible for said extension. It would just be with the new team, correct? So you could kind of trade for him sight unknown in terms of the future with his contract and still extend him.
Yeah, and if you're Lauri, it's almost a win-win situation, because if you get traded now, you go to, say, San Antonio, oh no, I got to play with Wemby, CP3, not bad, so play with Popovich, so yeah, I think he'd be more than welcome to come to San Antonio. And the Spurs have been chasing him for quite a long time. It's not the first time he's been on the radar. Perfect fit, almost, James, maybe Twin Towers version 2.0. I think more athletic, with them two. I think it's a win-win for the Spurs. They got more assets, more draft picks, more draft capital, more players they can flip to present Danny Ainge in Utah the best possible, offer they can. James, there's no excuse. The Spurs should be in the driver's seat for Lauri.
They should be in the driver's seat, but I've got a question that's going to really kind of change the way we look at things when it comes to how the Spurs are building, because I don't think any of us really understand what the implications of this new first and second apron and the potential draft holds that can now come on draft picks in the future when you're not meeting these new requirements that are being put in. And it's going to be interesting because we see not only with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but the Spurs themselves, they have a lot of future draft capital. Most of that you would assume would be for chasing veteran players and having trade ammunition, but there's also the potential that, especially with these pick swaps and everything that they're building out, that they are looking a little further down the road than many of us would want them to in terms of fandom and wanting to fix the product immediately.
Yeah, and look, I think the Spurs, what these moves are telling me, again, obviously things can change right now or tomorrow or in the next month, whatever. But as of this time and period right now, the Spurs obviously are signaling they want to win. They want to start winning already. Regular season games to a W close. We saw more than a handful of times last season. Close games, young mistakes the young Spurs did cost them wins. I don't think this team goes on another 10+ losing skid as we saw last year anymore. So what this tells me, the moves they're making right now, this team wants to go ahead and start winning, and which is fine because you got to get that part. If there's something about player development, great. We saw that last year with few of the players. Now this year, it's okay now how we're going to develop as a team and start racking up W's. Well, let me show you how it's done, kids. Here's a multi-time All-Star CP3 at the point guard spot, mind you. Here is Harrison Barnes, who's won a title before. Mix it all together, and let's start learning to win as teams. And these two guys are going to guide you on the court because last year, years before, they haven't had that coach on the court. Now they got practically two of them now.
Yeah. Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 Spurs reporter joining us here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Jeff, I look at the Barnes edition, I look at the CP3 edition, and there is no doubt that it makes this team better.
Mm-hmm.
But how much better is this team with their additions when you look at everything else that is happening, especially in the Western Conference?
I think they're with a play-in spot because you look at last year, it took nearly 45 wins-ish, like 45, 46, just to get into the play-in the West. So they're going to have a great leap, and I think they can do that. Wemby is going to be Wemby, and he's only going to get better. We're seeing what he's doing right now with Team France. We'll see if it translates more so in the NBA regular season. You bring in the veterans, as I mentioned. You hope. I think the big key in all this, though, Pleasure, is Vassell. If he can have a healthy season and really, really be that running mate that we saw that he can be with the Wemby, that's going to be great. Obviously, the big caveat is if the Spurs do win the market and sweepstakes, and well, then forget about it. Playoffs, here we come. But as of right now, I think this is a team that's going to flirt with the play-in spot, almost similar to Houston. Houston last year was like fighting to the bitter end. It just took a couple of games, and it just slipped through their fingers. I can see a situation like that for the Spurs being in that Houston spot as they were last year, trying for the play-in spot.
Is that going to be enough to appease the fandom, being able to basically pull off a Houston where you're competing till the very end, but you don't quite make it?
Listen, are Spurs fans ever satisfied? Are they ever satisfied? Well, they won the title, but they didn't win it in a sweep. Oh my goodness! Fire the coaching staff. No, I think it'll be good. I think the fans will be good. I think they just want to see a competitive product on the floor. They want to see this team taking it to teams as we saw it towards the end of last season. And I think that's a big key. The way they racked up last season, they were very positive. I was in that locker room in that press conference to close out the season. And despite it being a 22-win season, from Trey Jones to Vassell to Keldon, everybody was thrilled how they came together to close out the season on a high note. And they're going to carry that into preseason training camp at the start of the regular season.
He is Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs and Ken's Fives. Jeff, any news in terms of expecting potential press conferences for Harrison Barnes and CP3?
There might be one tomorrow. Might be one tomorrow.
Might
be one tomorrow. Yep, yeah, there will.
Because
I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be all over it, huh?
I'm legitimately asking because we haven't found anything out until never mind. I just checked my email and just got a update from the Spurs. There it is. So we will be having one tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, there will be one tomorrow. So we'll get to meet the new players, see what they're all about. I guess everybody's right now is wondering, is CP3 going to take number 3 away from KJ? I think KJ's not going to have a problem with that if that comes to it.
Here's my problem with that. Yeah, CP3, you're a GOAT, right? But Keldon's been here, right? He has worn number 3 his entire career, the same way CP3 has. Why does Keldon have to come off that jersey?
I mean, he doesn't have to. I think don't the players have to buy the number if they want to use the number? I think that's kind of the thing in the NBA.
I mean,
we saw this with Bruce Bowen. Remember when Bruce Bowen's jersey was retired? LMA asked him if he could borrow number 12, and he goes, "Yeah, whatever, use it." Fun. Look, first of all, I can't believe I'm saying CP3 Spur. That's weird to say. CP3 is a Spur, and then to see what numbers going to wear. I think it's just all good times right now. Spurs fans should be smiling. This team is making the moves in the right direction, and even if it isn't a big splash, it isn't not a big blockbuster stop the presses move. They're definitely in a position to make that move either in the near future or maybe as soon as next offseason. But they're in a prime position. And I know probably just for him to dust out the marketing jersey once that happens, right, Roger?
Exactly. Now, the one thing I will say is because we are so instant in our need for gratification, the Spurs are building in terms of bringing in substantial talent, upgraded talent. They have upgraded the roster, and they still have the flexibility for future improvement, whether it be via the draft and holding on to those picks or just using those picks in the future and potential trade candidates. I mean, they maintain the flexibility to continue to do a bunch of different things while still upgrading their roster in the here and now. It's just not the seismic leap forward that a lot of people want to see immediately.
Right. But you know what? The seismic leap is just if Wemby is able to be unleashed. And I think the players that they brought in allows that. TP3, you can't get better point guard to help Wemby be max Wemby heading into next season.
What was it, Jeff, that we clamored for at the beginning of the year? If we just had a guy that knew how to get the tall guy the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
CP3 knows how to do that, right?
Yeah, he just breaks all records when it comes to assist turnover ratios and whatnot. So, what if that is the seismic move? Just bringing in a guy that can help unleash Wemby. And look, Harrison Barnes, he's a floor spreader. He can knock it down. Stephon Castle, at least in one summer league game, I get it, everybody, but proving that maybe this whole knocking him out the outside shot is, not well-founded. So you combine all that together, and watch out NBA. The Spurs could be a little bit of a problem next season.
Speaking of the summer league, what are your takeaways from what we've seen so far in Sacramento? We got one game out of Stephon Castle and 2 embarrassing beatdowns.
Oh, yeah. It's still way too early to, kind of put a grade on Castle after just one summer league game. I think the true test will come out in the Vegas run. There, he'll be facing against Risha Shea, his draft class, whatnot. But, hey, at least in one game, I like how he controls the pace. That defense was on point. I mean, my goodness. I mean, if the Spurs want a lockdown defender on the perimeter, they might have one. I mean, how many times last year did we see opposing players just go off from the 3 line? I mean, it was almost nightly. Now they got somebody who can perhaps check that, and he can score. He almost hit a half-court shot in that preseason game. Ingram, obviously, overshadowed by Castle, but nevertheless, Harrison Ingram, I thought he looked good in game 2. Put up double figures. I like that motor on him. My goodness. It's a good comp for him as of right now. That do-it-all bruiser in the middle, a la Malik Rose.
Okay.
Malik Rose would just get down and dirty in the paint and just score and grab a rebound, box out, throw the body on the floor. I could see Harrison Ingram becoming something like that.
He is Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. Check out all his stuff at Jeff G on Spurs Zone. Last one before I get you out of here, Jeff. As I look at the Spurs and their summer league, you also have multiple Spurs playing in the Olympics overseas. What are your takeaways from what we've seen out of Wemby and Sohan and all the other Spurs that are playing, more basketball this summer?
Well, Sohan and Team Poland, they're out. So they're not going to the Olympics. You got Mamu and Team Georgia. They're out. Well, Mamu's not as of right now, may not be a Spur. So we'll see hopefully what happens with him. But Sohan just looked like he took more leads from the defensive end in the few games that we saw. Wemby's looking unstoppable. I mean, 20-plus points in the 2 games. He sat out of the game today with illness. But, when I see Wemby doing Wemby things, but you got to wonder, he ain't playing against NBA competition. He's playing against Germany. No knock on Germany, but Germany, they're not a FIBA powerhouse. But look, as long as he stays healthy, comes back in one piece, not banged up, ready to go for the but hey, Team USA and Team France, that could potentially be a great gold medal game.
Hey, and you say he's not playing against NBA competition. Cooper Flagg's playing against NBA competition now.
Oh my God. Tank. Just kidding.
One more year.
One more year. Let's get the tank going. My good. He looked like he was just schooling everybody. I mean, just whatever he wanted, he got in the footage that was released.
That is the prize of 2025 that everyone's been talking about.
Oh my goodness! Look, can I just dream a little bit? Imagine Wemby and Flag together. I just dream a little bit.
Well, that's why you hold on to ATL and hope that they get lucky for a second straight year.
Oh, come on, ATL. Trade Trae Young. Come on, get him out of there. You start over again. What are y'all waiting for? Y'all got Flag there.
Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, just rip the Band-Aid off. Go for Flag. Oh yeah, but don't worry about it. Don't ignore the whole unprotected thing. But just go for it. Tank, man. Tank. Do what you got to do.
He is Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. Catch him on YouTube at Locked On Networks. And, of course, you can catch it everywhere that you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all that great stuff. Jeff, thanks as always for coming on today, my man.
Anytime, brother. Talk to you later.
We'll talk to you soon. That is Jeff Garcia. Make sure to follow his work at Jeff G Spurs Zone. He also is the digital reporter for Ken's 5. Keep it up with all of the latest on the San Antonio Spurs. When we come back, we're going to switch gears, go over to the NFL for a little bit. Both the Houston Texans and Dallas Cowboys have things being said about their quarterbacks. How good or bad are they? We'll discuss next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give MVP's Pro Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not an MVP's Pro Rewards member? Join today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
Play ball! Missions Baseball returns Tuesday night at Wolf Stadium. Join us for AARP $2 Tuesday, presented by 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. First pitch is at 7:05. Go to samissions.com for tickets.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This is Andrew Monaco, and the Aggies play here. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I want to thank Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs for joining me on the Buyers Barricades guest line. All guests that appear via the Buyers Barricades guest line as they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio at buyersbarricades.com. Goldfinger123 on our YouTube live chat. Of course, you can always like, subscribe, comment along with the show. Like Goldfinger123 says, if the Spurs are well above 500, do they still trade CP3? This morning on the Morning Huddle, Rob Thompson thought the Spurs, they still would. I don't think so. Like, if they're in the hunt, Spurs are going to make a run for it because this is about Wemby and Wemby's development. And if you have an opportunity to make a run, and if you're over 500 by the trade deadline, you've had a pretty good start to the season. I don't know if Wemby would understand tanking when you're good. You can understand the process, the steps involved, how we're going to build this thing, grow this thing, incrementally get better. But if you start to mess with him putting in the work to put this team into position and then start to tear it down, I think he may have an issue with that. So potentially, in my humble opinion, if the Spurs were well above 500 at the trade deadline, I do not think they move on from Chris Paul. I think that they would then, at that point, continue to make a run into the postseason and see where the chips fell when the season came to a close. Speaking of which, NFL season came to a close quite a while ago, but we are on the verge of that season opening back up as training camp, at least for the Houston Texans, in a sense, is just a few weeks away. I believe they report to camp next week on the 17th. If I remember correctly, they will be playing in the Hall of Fame game just a few weeks later in August, at the beginning of August. And of course, Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage will begin right here that last week of July, first week of August, as we get you set for NFL training camp live from Oxnard, California. And some of the biggest questions revolve around the quarterbacks and the quarterbacks of both teams. The biggest question for the Texans is, does CJ Stroud continue his incredible play that he showcased in year one, or does in year two, the rest of the league watch tape, start to get a beat on him, and he shows a bit of regression? Now, the Texans did everything in their power to prevent any sort of regression by going out, extending Nico Collins, getting Tank Dell back healthy, trading for Stephon Diggs, adding a Joe Mixon in a trade, and continually putting more and more weapons around him, along with the fact that the offensive line should be more solid than at any point last year when it dealt from injuries from the jump before the season even started, during training camp and preseason. That alone should put him in a better starting spot this year than he was at any point last season. One of those weapons, Tank Dell, talked about CJ Stroud and exactly where he falls in the pantheon of quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, I for sure feel like CJ got the opportunity to be the best quarterback in the league. Not me just saying it because who he is to me, but just like what I'm seeing him do each and every week. Like what the world see. They seeing exactly what we seeing, man. How he just coming out there and as a 21-year-old man, he going against, grown man, you know, and he out there just balling every week. It's like how consistent he is. All that just play a factor. I feel like CJ got to just keep doing what he's doing to bridge the gap between him and Mahomes, man. Because not gonna lie, Mahomes special, man. What it was like 6 years, 5 Super Bowls, 6 years, I think, going to the Super Bowl. You know, that's crazy, and it's for sure gonna be a lot of work to have to be put in with 7. But I just feel like if he just keep doing what he's doing, he on the right path. He started hot already, so I feel like we just keep bringing in pieces to help the team grow as a unit, as a team. You know, defense too, like, because you know defense help win games also. So just bringing in the right pieces around him to be who want to be.
That is Tank Dell on the I Am Athlete podcast talking about CJ bridging the gap between Mahomes and the rest of the quarterbacks in the league. And that is a bold statement to say, but he also ended it by saying the Texans are doing everything they can to make sure that that is the case, including the defensive side of the ball, like Danielle Hunter, like Danico Autry, having Will Anderson Jr. already in the building, adding an Azeez Al-Shaair. These are pieces, and you can ask Patrick Mahomes himself. I guarantee you he would not quibble with this. Defense does help win. Defense helped him win a title this year because that defense played at an extraordinary level all season long and helped to carry a struggling offense for a bulk of the season to keep them within striking distance in games or ahead in games where they probably would have lost if it was a defense from previous seasons that started slow and took time to really come into shape. No, that defense came in hot this year, and it helped to carry the offense until the offense could kind of catch up because they were struggling with issues this year. So defense is going to be a massive part of it. And Gary Kubiak was on the locker room with Landry Locker earlier this week and talked about CJ Stroud and how he sees him in the pantheon of quarterbacks right now.
Extremely impressed. I mean, the first thing that jumps at you is that he can make any throw at any time. You know, it doesn't take a lot of effort for him to flip a ball, 30, 40 yards down the field with people, around his feet and those type of things. So, I mean, those are just God-given talents that are really, really special. And when you watch him, you see that. To me, you also never see any panic in him when things are going on. That's a tremendous sign. But now it's time for year 2, and I'm sure Bobby and he have been studying everything they can study and put a new spin on what they're going to do. And, D'Amico continues to get the football team better around him, and that's the best friend a quarterback can have is a good football team.
And he's got an incredible team put together on paper. The question is going to be the strength of schedule that he's going to have to compete with, and we will see as that comes on. But going into year 2 with Bobby Sloak, and having Bobby back is a key thing for the Houston Texans and that offense this year, because we talk about it all the time, familiarity and comfortability between a quarterback and their offensive coordinator, which is why a lot of teams go towards the offensive coordinator head coach route in terms of, I'm going to get a coordinator. He's going to be the head coach. He's going to install his offense. That way, when the quarterback I draft early in the draft will have a guy that he can grow with, and you don't have to worry about multiple changing of offenses every year if he's good. And that's going to be something that the Texans and CJ Stroud are going to have to deal with at time to time, because as good as he is, the coordinators and quarterbacks coaches around him will start to get other job opportunities. We saw it with both him and the quarterbacks coach this past year, Gerard Johnson. Both got opportunities, both decided to return, which can only be good things for CJ Stroud. We can say the same thing just up the road in Arlington with the Dallas Cowboys, because they had a first-year offensive play caller in Mike McCarthy implementing what was, as we found out as the offseason went on last year, more and more change from the previous system under Kellen Moore than any of us knew or they let us know initially. And what had happened was Dak Prescott ended up having a career year. He ended up finishing second in the MVP voting, and they had another 12-5 season. Now, once again, just like the Texans, I talk about strength of schedule. The Cowboys' strength of schedule was very beneficial for them in terms of the teams they faced early in the year to kind of stack wins. Is that going to be much different this year? It's going to be different. Is it going to be much different? I don't think so, but for the same reason, when we talk about CJ Stroud year 2 under Bobby Slowick and the potential for growth with the system, you can Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy and growth within that offensive system for the Dallas Cowboys. And a known Dak, I don't want to call him a Dak hater, but he has definitely not been this glowing of Dak Prescott in previous attempts to throw him onto a list or explain where he fits in the pantheon of quarterbacks. Now, Cam Newton being one of the ones that's rushing to Dak Prescott's defense.
If you got the same stat line as Patrick Mahomes, something is clicking in big games.
Somewhere.
Because I'm looking at this list too. The top 10 goes as follows. Okay.
Damn. It's only one of them that have a Super Bowl.
It's only one guy that has a Super Bowl, and there's a lot of guys on here that doesn't have a lot of playoff success.
Yeah.
So if you're going to sit up here and judge Dak Prescott on playoff success, and I'm looking at a list of guys that don't even have no playoff experience or not even a playoff win, come on. I would prefer Dak Prescott over Kirk Cousins. I prefer Dak over Kyler Murray. I prefer Dak over Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert, Dak. Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking Dak.
Yeah.
So it ain't that what I think Dak to be. It's what the market dictates Dak to be. And Dak is better than half of the guys on this list.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the only other ones on that list. Mahomes has a Super Bowl. Only 2 others have been to a Super Bowl. That was Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. And it's a list of the top 10 paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes was at 10. And if you're debating if Dak Prescott is worth the money or not, and you're terrified of the amount of cap space that he takes up, remember, the cap is not static. It does not stay the same. As these player contracts go up, so do the salary cap. The cap increases along with these player salaries, which is why teams are able to build rosters like this. Dak's not the only one that's going to be paid top of market. You would also have to pay Micah and CD. But guess what? There are multiple teams that pay multiple players top of market money because the cap continues to go up. The Houston Texans are going to have to deal with this at some point when Will Anderson and CJ Stroud both come off of their initial rookie deals. And then, like everyone else, they will have to adjust and build the same way through the draft with sporadic, very, very studied free agent acquisitions, because that's how you have to build in the NFL, and every team does it, but the cap does not stay the same. So as these salaries go up, stop looking at the end-all, be-all final number as how can you make this? The guy before him is only making this. Well, that guy's salary can't go up unless the guys in front of him go up, which allows him to come back to the negotiating table. That's just how the economics of the NFL work. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, SASportsStar.com. When we come back, man, hot dogs and burgers weren't the only things on the grill this 4th of July weekend. I'll explain next right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
GiveMeTheVin.com salutes perseverance. On this day in 1889, American bare-knuckle fighter John L. Sullivan beat Jake Kilrain in 75 rounds of fighting to defend his title in the last heavyweight championship bout held under London's prize ring rules. Also on this day, Gimme the Vin helped a customer knock out the competition by offering $2,000 more than the local BMW dealer for his 2023 Series sedan.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Joel, I'm proud to introduce my latest in-summer relaxation relief-cation. I call it the Quarter Moon Grill and Go. It's a stainless steel propane gas grill with this, a full-size urinal. If you're gonna grill and you gotta go, it's the Grill and Go.
Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, we fix plumbing and AC issues fast and at a fair price. 210-651-5899.
Grill and
go away, Nigel. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC.
License number TACLA 88589E and 16004.
When you ask people here, what's the one thing that makes Diamonds Direct their favorite jeweler? For some, it's the unbeatable pricing we get through our direct importer. No middleman connections. Day one. For others, it's the uncompromising quality. From hand-selected diamonds to handcrafted designer rings, only the best of the best. Some people put selection at the top of their list, as Diamonds Direct offers up to 30 times the options you expect from a typical jewelry retailer. For some, it's our luxurious showroom with diamond experts who genuinely care about your experience and happiness, and who are empowered to do whatever it takes for you. Others rave about Diamonds Direct's unmatched warranties and guarantees that include free service for life and an extraordinary 110% diamond upgrade promise. But you know the most often answer we get when asking what makes Diamonds Direct stand out? It's not one thing, it's everything. Diamonds Direct. Value, luxury, choices, and confidence. Get directions, hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Mornings 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The state of rap is probably in as good a spot as it's been in a long time. Because I'll tell you, hot dogs and burgers weren't the only things on the grill this weekend. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I'm James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I say the state of rap's in a really good spot because over 4th of July weekend, we got some great stuff like Eminem, Babytron, and Big Sean's Toby. M grills some of the goats on that track and continues to go after Melly Mel. Some shots at potentially Nas and Jay-Z on it. But that wasn't the biggest roast and grill that went on over the weekend. The biggest came from that of Kendrick Lamar, who continues to body Drake one after the other after the other. Not Like Us music video drops on the 4th of July, a day where the colonizers break free of British rule. And if you remember correctly, during the Not Like Us song, Drake calls, or Kendrick calls Drake a colonizer who is from Canada trying to get into the Atlanta hip hop scene. Also in the video, he's wearing all white and dropped it 2 hours into the middle of Michael Rubin's all white party, which Drake was at, by the way. And you can see him in the video at one point waving at the camera. And you wonder if that was just a shot at Drake all in of itself. It is a diabolical level of dissing that Kendrick Lamar has done to Drake to this point, and I'm for it. It's a level of petty I aspire to be able to reach one day. I never will, but his doubles, triples, the level and depth of which he goes to, and how having DeMar DeRozan in the video, who notably was with Drake in Toronto, like it's so much like when introduced as a Sacramento King in Sacramento, they played not like us. When DeMar was introduced, it was fantastic, is diabolical, and the best part of it, the snippet at the beginning of the track. That is the next song. Is it a diss? Is it just the next track? I don't know, but I'm here for it. Thanks for joining me here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You're living here in San Antonio and South Texas. A water softener is almost a requirement. The water is hard. You know this. It affects your appliances and all of that kind of stuff.